You know things are bad when celebrities speak out against the erosion of free speech. This week, British comedian Sarah Millican told the BBC that she believes freedom of speech is disappearing in the UK.
I think there's a degree of freedom of speech that seems to be disappearing, but I do think you have to be. I think you have to be careful. I think things like sometimes if you have a conversation with somebody on Twitter and it's printed in a newspaper, you think, well, actually, I just did that on a public forum. If I didn't want that to be in the public, available publicly, I should have just texted them. So yeah, that sort of thing, I think you need to be careful of. But I think within reason, you should be allowed to say anything. It's the angle that you come in at that I have a problem with. So you should be allowed, you can make jokes about racism and about misogyny and about homophobia, but you have to come in from a healthy angle. You can't be misogynistic or racist or homophobic, but you can certainly write jokes about those, and I don't think that should be stopped.
So, does Millican have a point? Is freedom of speech disappearing? Well, just last week, a teenager in Kent was arrested for posting a picture of a burning poppy on Facebook. The 19-year-old Linford House had been arrested on suspicion of malicious telecommunications. Now, in response, legal commentator David Alan Green tweeted, "What was the point of winning either world war if, in 2012, someone can be casually arrested by Kent police for burning a poppy?" And Mr. Cooper, QC, had said, "There seems to be a growing intolerance, and a particular intolerance to comments made on social media. It is almost as if certain sections of society, the police, are trying to send out unwarranted, heavy-handed signals which are an affront to the very rights we hold dear." It is not illegal to burn a poppy in the UK, and it is not illegal to offend someone. Well, not yet. Campaign group Big Brother Watch commented on the arrest, saying, "This case highlights the urgent need to reform a law that poses a serious risk to freedom of speech after several ludicrous prosecutions in recent months." In 2010, a 28-year-old man in Doncaster was arrested and found guilty of posting a joke on Twitter about blowing up an airport. Paul Chambers had tweeted in frustration that Robin Hood Airport in South Yorkshire was closed because of snow. He tweeted, "Crap, Robin Hood Airport is closed. You've got a week and a bit to get your shit together, otherwise I'm blowing the airport sky high." Earlier this year he had his conviction quashed. Now a victory for Mr. Chambers, however. The UK courts continue to criminalise online speech. In October this year, a 20-year-old man, Azhar Ahmed, was arrested and found guilty of a grossly offensive communication. His crime? Posting his opinion on Facebook about the death of 6 British soldiers in Afghanistan. Mr. Ahmed posted that all soldiers should die and go to hell, and as a result he was given a £300 fine and 240 hours community service. Also in October of this year, another teenager, Matthew Woods from Chorley in Lancashire, was arrested and jailed for 12 weeks for posting jokes on his Facebook page about the disappearance of 2 young children, Madeleine McCann and April Jones. The 19-year-old had taken ideas from Wikipedia, a joke website, and posted them on his page. Now, while some of the comments posted on social media sites can be insensitive and offensive, freedom of speech means freedom to offend. Without alternative opinions, there can be no discussion, no criticism, and no debate. As George Orwell once said, if liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they don't want to hear. Now, under Section 5 of the Public Order Act, the police and the courts can decide if you or someone else feels insulted by comments. For example, according to the Reform Section 5 campaign, Section 5 was used to issue a court summons to a 16-year-old protester for peacefully holding a sign that read, "Scientology is not a religion, it is a dangerous cult." An allegation that the sign was abusive and insulting was referred to the Crown Prosecution Service. Now, thankfully, civil liberty campaigners intervened and the case was dropped. Another example of Section 5. being misused. An atheist pensioner who placed a small sign in the window of his home saying, "Religions are fairy stories for adults," was told by police that he could be arrested under Section 5 if he refused to remove the poster. Another example, Cumbria street preacher Dale McAlpine was held for 7 hours and charged with a Section 5 offence for saying homosexuality is a sin. The comments were not made as part of his public preaching, but in response to questions from a police community support officer about the issue of homosexuality. Cumbria police admitted that they acted unlawfully and agreed to give £7,000 compensation to Mr McAlpine in a settlement for a claim of unlawful arrest, imprisonment and breach of his human rights. Animal rights protesters were threatened with arrest and seizure of property under Section 5 for objecting to seal culling by displaying toy seals coloured with red food dye. They were told by police that the toys were deemed distressing by 2 members of the public. The police then ordered the protesters to move on. Now, freedom of speech is one of the most important rights that we have, and one that thousands have fought and died to preserve. It is a basic foundation of democracy and one of our greatest weapons against the rise of a totalitarian state. In the words of George Washington, "If freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent we may be led, like sheep to the slaughter." Well, that's all from me for today. If you feel strongly about the issues raised here, become part of the solution and spread this message far and wide. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.